Hello and welcome. Thank you for being here tonight. We are going to play 4 tunes, the jazz band. The students are going to introduce each piece. I want to make mention of the program being a little bit too rigid as far as our personnel in the rhythm section. We have a little carousel going on here. Henry plays bass on 1 tune, guitar on 1 tune, and drums on 2. That's right. And Griffin plays some guitar as well as bass. It's just so you know who they are and what they're playing. All right, I'm going to hand this over to Xander. What?
Hello. So our first piece today is going to be Peg by Steely Dan. Peg is one of Steely Dan's most iconic songs, blending of elements of jazz, pop, funk, with super clean horn lines and smooth vocals. In this arrangement for jazz, we get to explore those classic grooves and tight harmonies while putting our own spin on the tune. It is a great example of how jazz and popular music can cross over and complement each other. So personally, me and Henry, I'm sure y'all have heard this story like multiple times, because I for sure have. But me and Henry were at pep bands. We did not want to play. So we took our little break a little extra long and went downstairs to go and try to find some pieces to play for jazz band, because I thought playing some basic tunes wasn't enough. So we found Peg, which Erickson was really against for some reason. I don't know, but I think we turned him into a Steely Dan type of guy. So I figured. So yeah, I appreciate the song. But for solos, we got Rupert on the trumpet, and then we got this guy here, as always, Grady Cartoni.
Okay, our next song is called Song for You. And several years ago, we had a student teacher named Colin Fitzsimmons. A friend of his named Matt Healy from the music department at the University of Minnesota wrote a piece for the jazz band titled Song for You. Mr. Fitzsimmons worked with us on it and even had his friend come work with us too. Several seniors played in that band and requested that we play Song for You tonight. It's a slow funk tune that morphs into a faster tempo. Near the end, it features solos by Carly Stendhal, that's me, Bergen Hall, and Henry Bernhardt. We hope you enjoy Song for You.
is called Shofukan. It's originally written by the Grammy-winning fusion group Snarky Puppy. Shofukan is full of energy, rhythm, and unexpected turns. This version was arranged for the 2015 Georgia Governor's Honors Program Jazz Ensemble and features layered grooves, powerful ensemble moments, and plenty of room for improvisation. It's a fun challenge to perform and a thrill to listen to. On a personal note, I wasn't in jazz band the last time we played this song, but I remember seeing it performed at the Pancake Breakfast as a sophomore, and it was kind of a moment where I really started feeling like I should really focus in and try to audition into this group, because it was a really cool song, and it's a kind of song you don't really get to play outside of an ensemble like this. So Shofukan, featuring Griffin Anderson on bass, or is it guitar? Guitar, sorry. Rupert J. Shackleton on trumpet, and Grady Cartoni on alto sax.
That was Simon Eglin back there on the drums too. Simon!
Okay, the next piece we'll be playing is Amazing Grace. This arrangement was arranged by Wycliffe Gordon, and Wycliffe Gordon is an award-winning jazz trombonist, composer, and educator known for his incredible sound and deep roots in gospel and blues. His arrangement of Amazing Grace brings the familiar hymn to life in a whole new way, blending jazz harmony, emotional expression, and soulful solos. It's a moving piece that honors tradition while inviting creativity and individual voice. I was lucky enough to be able to play with Wycliffe Gordon and have him as a conductor back this summer when I was at Allstate for Jazz. And this piece is by far like the most powerful piece of music as far as jazz goes. I mean, I'll say the same thing about another piece in the next part of the concert, but this piece has such a special place in my heart. Like playing this was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had. It's just such a powerful piece. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed as much as I do. And there are solos from me, Rupert J. Shackleton, and Grady Cartoni in this one.
Thank you, everybody. We're going to take just a couple minutes to reset the stage, and the concert band will be right with you.
Hi, I'm back. The next song we're playing is called Illumination. The composer of Illumination, David Maslanka, wrote Illumination, lighting up, bringing light. I'm especially interested in composing music for young people that allows them a vibrant experience of their own creative energy. A powerful experience of this sort stays in the heart and mind as a channel for creative energy, no matter what the life path. Music shared in a community brings this vital force to everyone. Illumination is an open and cheerful piece in a quick tempo with a very direct ABA song chord. Similar to Amazing Grace, I actually played a song by David Maslanka at Allstate, and this is like genuinely exactly how his music makes me feel. A powerful experience of this sort stays in the heart and mind as a channel for creative energy, no matter what the life path is. I wrote my personal essay for college about a song by David Maslanka. He's my favorite composer, and his music is truly like inspirational. It's beautiful. I will never find a song by him that's not amazing. So I hope you guys enjoy this one as much as I enjoy it too. Yeah, this is Illumination.
Okay, our next song is called Caprice, composed by William Himes. Caprice is a piece that most of the seniors played in 7th grade band with Miss Westmeyer. I enjoyed playing it because of its light, fun feel. Like in class, we've been calling it kind of tea party background music. This lively, playful piece is written in ABA form. The composer has cleverly blended contemporary harmonies and strong melodic ideas with classical composition techniques to create Caprice. I hope you enjoy.
Okay, our next piece is called Unraveling. Unraveling was written in June of 2003 for the 2005 All Iowa Middle School Honor Band. The piece's melodic line is based on the octatonic scale and uses techniques such as singing and buzzing on mouthpieces. The work is intended to become progressively faster with a sense of increasing momentum and intensity. In a sense, the piece unravels in front of the listener. The title has a dual meaning though, as the concept of a repeating melodic line that gradually grows in intensity owes a great deal to Maurice Ravel's famous orchestral work, Bolero, hence the unraveling. And I played this song in freshman band in 9th grade, and this was personally my favorite band piece of all time. I have a really cool xylophone part, so watch out for that. And then the percussion in the song is really cool, and just like the sense of urgency, like the whole thing just gets faster as it goes. So it's really fun. One of my all-time favorites. So yeah, Unraveling.
University. The caverns of Sonora in southwestern Texas are recognized as one of the most spectacular and significant cave systems in the world. Best known for a stunning assemblage of crystal formations and caves remain quite alive with formations still developing. This work is an engaging homage of this beautiful gift of nature. The opening is slow and mysterious, encapsulating feelings of intrigue as to what secrets the caves may hold. Suddenly becoming brisk in tempo, a somber melody gradually grows into a powerful statement. While driving percussion and dark harmonies push through the music along, the feeling of mystery remains throughout. Most of us seniors who were here in 7th grade played this song, and for me specifically, this was the first song that made me really love what I do with music, and really made me want to continue with playing in band. So this is Caverns of Sonora. Thank you.
You guys seen Weekend at Bernie's? Hello? Okay. This arrangement of A Bug's Life brings the animated world of the film to life with music by Randy Newman, full of playful themes,
bold fanfares, and dramatic moments. Performing this piece has been a fun challenge. We've worked on quick changes in style, tight rhythms, and colorful dynamics to help tell the story. It's music that's both exciting and detailed, and we've enjoyed capturing the spirit and energy of the movie on stage. I've never seen the movie, but my favorite bug is a dragonfly.
Before Bo introduces our last piece and we play it, I want to thank lots of people. We had a wonderful banquet before the concert, and I want to thank Katie Heyman and Julie Springman for all they do and did for that. Thank you to you parents for pushing your kids and keeping them going. Sometimes it's not super easy, but it really pays off in the long run. This concert is, when I first started teaching here, this won't be long, I promise. Pop's concert was in May, and after Pop's concert was done, the only thing left was graduation. And frankly, the seniors kind of sat around, even wandered around the building. Mr. Vanak, do you remember this? And when I got this job, I thought, I want to do something at the end of the year to honor the seniors. So we moved Pop's concert a little bit forward, and we started doing this, and I immediately regretted it. I love it, but more and more and more and more and more students take AP tests. So we finish with Pop's concert, and all of a sudden, we have kids out at the end of the day for golf and for tennis and for track and for baseball and for softball and for lots and lots of AP tests. The best thing we've done recently is to start playing music from their middle school years. It takes a lot of the stress off. And at first I thought, well, I guess we can do this. But it's become so fun, right? To hear these kids talk about how these pieces affected them is really something special. And it shows we have really excellent middle school band directors that pick really good music that stands up really, really well. Thank you to my colleagues, and thank you to the administration. Particularly, if you have not met Dr. Lear, our interim principal, he is here. I want a big line waiting to talk to him. You gotta meet this guy. He is absolutely fantastic. And he's my parents' neighbor in Northfield. It's super bizarre. The last group of people I want to thank, second to last. Students, all of you up here. I love this job. When I'm up in front of you here on a night like tonight, honestly, I feel like somebody's handed me the keys to a really, really nice car. And I'm the lucky one that gets to drive it. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You're fantastic. Seniors, oh, I love all you guys. You're special people, and you'll always be a part of this band family, right? So never forget and keep coming back. Wolves in 6. 5. Does anybody mind if we do a quick score check-in? Plug yours if you don't want to know the score. Xander? He's got his phone on his stand. Come on, we know this. Down 3, a minute to go in the second quarter. Okay, they can do this. All right, back to the important business. Bo.
Nostalgia refers to a sentimental longing or wistful recollection of the past, typically for a time and place associated with happy memories. This composition incorporates 2 melodic themes that combine to build a climactic resolution with the full ensemble. The music is lyrical, joyous, and ultimately hopeful, taking the listener to a place of harmonic bliss. It's a tradition here that we play Nostalgia at the end of the senior concert, and we also play it as the first song we play at graduation. And when the concert band plays at graduation, all of the new people in concert band for the next year get to play with them. So for a lot of the seniors here, this is their first and also last piece that they will play with concert band. So for me, it kind of encapsulates everything that band is. It's everything that I've loved about band my entire time doing it since 5th grade. And it's a really spectacular piece. The only words I can use to describe it are powerful and touching. And my favorite part is the praying mantis.